Hello and welcome back to The Verge. Today we're giving you a tutorial on how to build a PC. For this PC build I chose a variety of components. The Ryzen 2700 is the CPU I chose. I decided to go for the GTX 1080 just because I had it on hand and I don't want to buy another graphics card before all the other ones are releasing at the end of this year. I then had a 256GB Nvme SSD, which I wanted to install into my motherboard, and of course I had to have 32GB of RAM. I ended up going for a ITX build in the end, just because I wanted to keep everything nice and compact. And we're just preparing the mounting bracket for the cooler at the moment, just to make sure that we have the right one before we get the CPU on there. So the important thing when making PCs is to keep our workspace nice and clean. Now we could do this by minimizing the amount of stuff on our workplace. I like to chuck away the manual. Now that we've installed the mounting plate, the next thing that we need to do is take the RAM and make sure it's actualized. So to actualize the RAM, you'll see these pins here. Now these pins are the things which we actually need to actualize. Now to do this you can use a carpet, or if you don't have a carpet you can use your jumper, and what you need to do is just rub the pins against something that can produce enough electricity to actually actualize the RAM. Now this next part is very important. We need to use thermal paste on the actual motherboard. You want to make sure that you put enough thermal paste on that section to make sure that the pins have enough cooling on them between the motherboard, because that's what's producing the heat. Now for installing the Nvme drive you need to make sure it's actualized just like the RAM, and just make sure you screw it in correctly as well. Now the rest of this build is very simple. We've just got to basically do the cable management and get everything plugged in, and also install the GPU, so it should be very straightforward. And the IO shield just pops in like so. Now in most cases you will be able to install the motherboard in now, but there's a fan that's preventing me from actually getting the cooler inside of the case. So I'm going to have to take out the motherboard and basically remove that fan before I can do anything else, and cable management is a fucking nightmare. You know, I really wonder why I decided to go ITX, because you just can't fucking do anything with it. There's so little space even in this massive big fuck off ITX case. Okay, home straight now lads, we just got to install the GPU and plug everything in and get that fucking cable management on point. Okay, I really fucking hate these baggies, they're just so fucking complicated to open. And now let's spend the last 2 hours plugging everything in so we can get a result a bit like this. Yo, so we recently hit that beautiful 1000 subscriber hit marker, and I am eternally grateful for everyone who stuck around for this long. Channel uploads have been inconsistent at the very nicest way of putting it, but I'm hoping to change that. We're going to have some regular content like the top 5 skins of the week, which I'm currently working on the video, which should be out Friday. Cannot guarantee, it might get delayed to Saturday. I'm going to try my very best to get it out for Friday. Apart from that, you know, I've changed some stuff on the build. Like I wanted to go for black and red one. It was all about aesthetics for me, because I'd come from a PC that looks like this, and I then switched to something that looks beautiful and majestic like this, while also keeping relatively small and compact for an ITX build, but I still wanted to keep it fairly quiet so when I stream it's not so noticeable in the background. The graphics card is absolutely the loudest part of this build, but let's not get into that nerdy details because nobody gives a shit. You're all here just because it looks cool, and I think it looks really cool, really happy with how it is. If you're interested in the nerdy shit, there's a link to the PC Part Picker website below. I'm really happy with how the build turned out, and it's going to be the official KC2 Lucky Rig. We also got some stickers. No merchandise yet. I don't think I'm big enough for merchandise, and I don't really want to sell anything as merchandise either, but I'm really, really, really loving the way that this thing has turned out. And I love the way that the build looks, and I hope to keep on pushing content.